Welcome to Looking at Area. When we're looking at area, the units of measurement that we use are always squared, okay? So we might say squared millimeters, we might say millimeters squared, centimeters squared, meters squared, square kilometers or kilometers squared. So the unit is always squared. That's with the little 2 in subscript. So a few things to remember. We're looking at 2D shapes, okay? So we're only going to look at 2 dimensions. So it might be length and height, it could be width and length, but we're only going to be looking at 2 of the dimensions. Okay, so when we think of area, if we think of our paddock, here we've got the carrot in the middle of the paddock. When we talked about perimeter was looking at the outside of the shape, so the distance around the outside of the shape. So how long the fence was around the outside of the paddock or the field. When we look at area, we're looking at the area or the space within that perimeter, so inside the perimeter. So here, the actual space that the paddock itself takes up inside the fence. Now, when we talk about area, we've said we look at those units squared. Okay, now we do have some conversions, and when we do these conversions, what we convert by is also squared. So if we've got 10 meters squared and we want to know what that is in centimeters squared, we need to times the 10 by 100 squared. Okay, so that's there. So 10 times 100 squared, that's 10,000. So 10 times 10,000 is 100,000 centimeters squared. Okay, and then if you were to move from centimeters to meters, centimeters squared to meters squared, you'd be dividing by the 100 squared. So you've got to remember that the difference when you're converting areas, measure units of area, is the fact that the conversion rate is squared. Alright, so looking at area. If we look at our rectangle here, we already know that from perimeter we went 2 widths plus 2 lengths. When we look at area and we're looking at that space within the shape, okay, we need to multiply the 2 sides together, so the length times the width. Okay, and that's how we can find out how much is within the perimeter. If you look here, we've got our rectangle and we've got 4 units down the side and we've got 9 units across the top. Now, we know that 4 times 9 is 36. Now, if we count the squares up inside here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So the area within there is 36 units. And that's the same whether we're talking centimetres, metres, kilometres. It's the area, the space within the perimeter that we're looking at, which is our area. Okay, looking at the area of a triangle. Now, if I told you that the area of a triangle was half times the base times the height, that's fine. Okay, you might go along forever using that as your formula. But why do we use that half? Well, when you think about it, our rectangle was length times width, or in this case it would be base times height, and a triangle is half of a rectangle. So we've got height times base times half, and that makes our triangle. If you look here, we've got our height times our base to find our triangle area, and here it's showing you as part of the parallelogram. There's the height and there's the base. Okay, so you could find the area of that triangle. Again, here's our triangle. We've got our base distance there, we've got our height there. So you do base times height times half. Base times height times half. Base times height times half. Okay, if you want to find the area of a parallelogram, you could think that this is a bit tricky, okay? But again, it's the same as our rectangle. It's base times the height. But because if you think about it, you can cut this triangle off this end and put it over this side to make one full rectangle. Now, rectangle is base times height, or length times width. Remember, those terms are interchangeable. What it means is one side multiplied by the other side. And that's all in our introductory video on area of basic shapes.